What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, the WBA Super Featherweight World Champion, who should be the WBA Lightweight World Champion, turning into a superstar, star boxer, Lamont Roach Jr., reacts to the controversial draw that took place this past Saturday when he took on superstar boxer, 5-time world champion, 3-division world champion, who he's familiar with, in Gervonta Tank Davis. Lamont Roach opened up as a 25-1 underdog against Gervonta Tank Davis and ended up being a 15-1 underdog by the time the night of the fight came. You know, it typically gets closer as the fight gets closer, right? And with that said, Lamont Roach proved that he was anything but a 25-1 and ended up being 15-1 underdog against Gervonta Tank Davis. He arguably won the fight. The fight ended in a controversial draw. Reason being, not that the fight wasn't close, not that the fight wasn't entertaining, but the fact that the fight ended in a draw, and it was a debacle in the 9th round where Gervonta Tank Davis was in an exchange with Lamont Roach Jr. Gervonta Tank Davis came out the exchange. Lamont grazed him with a right hook and a double jab, and Gervonta Tank Davis took a few steps back, and as you can see on the video, when he grazed him with the jab, Gervonta Tank Davis shook his head, and his hair was similar to mine, and one of his braids went into his eye. He looked at referee Steve Willis, took a few steps back, and then took a knee. That is considered a knockdown per the rule book, okay? And so then Gervonta Tank Davis proceeded to go to his corner, call a timeout, and tell his corner to come on the apron and wipe his eye, which is illegal and should have resulted in disqualification because his coach, Calvin Ford, got up on the apron. That's illegal. Nonetheless, that wasn't upheld. So with that said, after the fight, that would have resulted in an extra point for Lamont Roach, which would have seen him be the victor. He would have been a 1-point majority decision victory winner. Okay, would have made him a 2-division champion. That wasn't upheld. So he appealed to the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission, seeing as though the fight took place in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. So it's under the thumb of the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission. They took a week to make a ruling. And as I told you guys on Friday, a ruling was coming. And yesterday, an unofficial ruling came. But today, an official ruling came. Today is Saturday. And with that said, they ruled that indeed Lamont Roach should have been awarded a knockdown for the 9th round, the 10-8 round. But they also stated that Steve Willis made a mistake, no doubt. But they don't want to interfere, and they're going to leave it as a draw, which is nasty work. Because you admitting wrongdoings, you admit that it was a knockdown, but in the same token, you don't want to do what's right. You don't want to overturn it because it makes the powers that be look bad, right? So Lamont Roach responded to it, and he stated that he's not surprised by the ruling, but in the same token, he is disappointed that they admitted that there was a blatant blunder that took place. They admitted that it should have been ruled a knockdown. They admitted that Steve Willis made a mistake. They admitted that it was illegal to do what Gervonta Tank Davis did, was going to his corner getting on the apron, yet they didn't correct it. So he said that he was disappointed from that. He proved his point, and he feels like, you know, he won the fight, and the world knows he wins the fight anyway. And so he stated that, I just see y'all in part 2. Part 2 is loaded. That's the only thing he can do. Now, he did address people making claims that he was trying to sue Gervonta Tank Davis. He didn't try to sue Gervonta Tank Davis in the least bit. These are false allegations that came from Ellie Setback of ES News. okay, who is a Tank Davis fan, okay, who is very biased. And Gervonta Tank Davis gives Ellie Setback, ES News, all access. And because of that, he sides with anything that happens with Gervonta Tank Davis. And so he made the statement that Lamont Roach hired lawyers to sue Gervonta Tank Davis, which is completely false. It's inaccurate. It's false. That's not what happened. He hired lawyers to, he has a team and lawyers to appeal the decision, to try to get the decision overturned, because he was wrongfully done, obviously. And that's it. That's all. So you got to take into consideration, this is the same Ellie Setback who stated that people shouldn't be crying about the situation with George Floyd because, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, racism and slavery took place years ago. So take that into consideration. But anyway, so Lamont Roach said, you know, part 2 is loaded. And with that said, Tank Davis said that he wants the immediate rematch by the end of May. Reason being is because Lamont Roach spoiled the plans. They was going to have Gervonta Tank Davis versus Jake Paul July 11th at the Madison Square Garden. That's another reason New York State Boxing Athletic Commission don't want to interfere. They're going to bring a big entertainment fight to New York. Whether it's at the Barclays Center or at Madison Square Garden, it's still under the tutelage of the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission. If they would have overturned this fight, that would have been very ugly when Gervonta Tank Davis come back to fight in the city. So there you have it. But anyway, hopefully we get the rematch. Now Jake Paul, Netflix, they put on hold, and Tank Davis wants to rematch Lamont Roach. Let's see how it plays out and turns out. But that's all I got for y'all. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. I'm gone. Peace.